Nguo yangu wasenesi mwakire mtuzeya sana nenda finira chechemekwe. Nguo yangu wasenesi mwakire mtuzeya sana nenda finira chechemekwe. Nguo yangu wasenesi mwakire mtuzeya sana nenda finira chechemekwe. Bageri.
Hello, Jumbo everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Returnee series. I know you love this series. And just before we start, hit that like button. Today we're going to be hosting someone who has chosen an East African nation again. Guess what? I know, you all think it's Tanzania because I've hosted several people who've relocated to Tanzania. This time round, the person is in the green city under the sun, the one and only Nairobi, Kenya. Without further ado, let's invite our guest.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to finally have this time with you.
Yes. No, it's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, we can start by introducing yourself.
Okay, very good. My name is Nikki Faye, and I have been living in Nairobi for about 2 years now. I moved here actually, I was living in Colombia before, but I'm originally from the US. I moved abroad from California.
Oh, awesome. What inspired your move from, okay, let's start from the US to Colombia until you got to Nairobi?
Well, you know what? I was always a really avid traveler. I started traveling when I was a little girl. My mom would take us everywhere. I went to so many places, and then one day we just stopped traveling, and I'm just like, wow, I miss traveling. And so when I went to law school, I started traveling again. I actually studied abroad, and so I got that kind of zeal back for traveling. And then some years passed, and I didn't get to travel as much as I wanted to. And then my mother passed away. And then I realized life was just too short because I had said, oh, when I retire, I'll start traveling, And she passed away at 57, and the retirement age in the US is 66. So I was like, if I'm going to do it, I should do it now. Why wait?
Oh, okay. And how did you get to move to Kenya?
Well, I was living in Colombia, and I was just like, I was getting antsy. I'm like, I feel like, I did back when I was in the US, just sitting in one place, So I was getting antsy. So I started traveling. So I was like, okay, I'm going to travel for a bit. So I traveled all around Africa and Europe. And when I got to Kenya, I just had a blast, literally. So I was just like, you know what? I have to come back here for a year. It's what I said. I'm coming back for a year. And here I am 2 years later.
Oh, wow. How is the experience so far?
It's been really wonderful. I can't complain. I always tell people to go to where you're loved. I feel like I'm loved here. The people are really great. Dating is really great. The food is really great. Everything is really great. I'm just really enjoying it. And when I lived in California, I used to always say, oh, I love living here because basically you can drive 20 minutes and it feels like you're on vacation. And I have the same experience here in Kenya. It's just, I feel like there's a vacation around every corner. So it's really nice being able to get away, even if for a few hours, and just experience something brand new and be excited all over again. So it's been awesome for me.
That's amazing. I honestly didn't know you had stayed in Kenya for 2 years, but wow, it's amazing. I don't know, have you met a lot of African Americans living in Kenya?
I've met a good amount of other African Americans from the U.S. Yeah, I met a lot of them. We have a really big community here. I'm actually in a couple of groups, WhatsApp groups, where we get together often and we kind of talk about the experience of being here from the States and stuff like that, and voting. Of course, now we're all on voting. So yeah, I've met quite a few Black Americans.
Okay, that's awesome. How was the community reception when you first got to Kenya? Did you know anybody in Kenya, or did you just get here and you're like, no, I'm staying?
Well, I didn't know anyone, but I met another traveler, and she had introduced me to a woman who I ended up befriending. And I also met a woman who was American, who I was staying somewhere, and I forget where I was staying. And she was just like, why don't you just leave the Airbnb and come and stay with me? So I ended up leaving my Airbnb and coming to stay with her. And she ended up being a really good friend. And I stayed with her the first time. And when I left, she was like, come back anytime and stay with me. And I was like, okay, I'm coming back,
Oh, wow. What do you miss most about the US?
Really, the food, one, and two, Amazon. Amazon is like the thing I probably miss the most. Food and Amazon, though.
Oh, I know, because of the delivery and getting the things that you order real quick, right?
Yes, having things on demand, whatever you need on demand and cheap is really a bonus for me. And, being here, it's like difficult to get some of the things that I'm used to having, and also getting things on demand and even finding things. It's like, okay, well, where do I go for this? And they're like, oh, call this person at this number. And I'm like, okay, but yeah, so it was really nice having things on demand, but it's fine.
Have you tried checking out Jumia or Kilimall?
I have, and they're good services. It's just that, they're not like Amazon.
All right. So have you learned the language?
You know what? I'll have to be honest. I'm really bad at languages generally. I lived in Colombia for a year and I'm still not fluent in Spanish. And so I've been here 2 years and I'm still not fluent in Swahili. I probably know a few words and that's it. But the thing about it, I don't feel so like forced to learn it because everyone speaks English. So I'm always like, do I have to learn a whole new language when everybody also speaks English? So it's really hard for me,
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. So let's talk about moving. How much finances, that is, how much did you require before you made the move? First, I know your move was first to Colombia, and from Colombia to Kenya, how much money did you need to have?
Well, I can't really say how much I came to Kenya with because I kind of prepared for my move abroad to Colombia. So when I got ready to move Colombia, I literally did everything in my power to make as much money as I could before I left. At the time, I had a whole job. But so I was working my job, doing several side hustles, all these things to save up money. So I saved up a great bit of money before I left. But when I was coming to Kenya, I didn't really have that same point of view. I was kind of used to it. I was working online, so it wasn't as big of an issue for me. And I came here, I was working online at the time, so it was easier. And now I'm an entrepreneur, so it's having a certain dollar amount wasn't really necessary.
Okay, that's awesome. You mentioned about you being an entrepreneur. What kind of business are you engaged in?
Well, I own a travel concierge business. And so basically, we help people travel abroad. So my company is based in 10 countries around the world.
Awesome. So, and do you offer the tour? You've mentioned 10 companies. Sorry, you've mentioned 10 countries. Maybe if you could tell us the tour services, in which countries?
Yeah. So basically it's a concierge business. So it's called Whatever, Whenever. So whatever you might need from accommodations to tours to car service, literally anything, doctor's appointments, whatever you may need, we offer that as a part of the service. And we service 3 countries in Africa and other countries abroad.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. I love the name, Whatever, Whenever.
And we mean it.
That's awesome. Well, talking about finances, are you looking at building your credit so you can have finances to travel, build, and invest on the continent? Well, www.creditbuildingmasterclass.com is the place to go. If you're watching this video, you can access that book so you can learn the tricks and the secrets on how to go about it in order to be able to achieve this. Click on the link on the pinned comment and you'll directly go to access that book for free. Let's do this. How long do you plan to stay in Kenya, or Kenya is home now?
Well, for me, Kenya's home now. I mean, I travel a lot, so I tend to call places my base. So I call Kenya my home base because it's the place where I have a home, and no matter where I'm traveling, I can just come back to, because I typically only spend, well, before coronavirus, I only spend about maybe, 6 months a year here, just because I'm traveling other places and spending a great deal of time in other countries too. But since coronavirus, I've been here for a while. But I think it's my forever home base.
Oh, okay. Did you have to ship your items to Kenya, or you started from zero, like buying everything afresh?
I actually sold everything I had before I left the US. And so by the time I came to Kenya, because every country I go to, I purge. So I get rid of things in every country. So by the time I got to Kenya, I had about 2 bags. So just clothes and toiletries and things like that. Everything else I just purchased.
And based on your experience, what is the cost of living in Kenya? How much does someone need to survive a month in Kenya?
Well, being honest, no matter what country I'm in, my budget is $1,000 a month, 1,000 USD. So that covers everything I need, from accommodations to, entertainment to food, everything. So that's my personal budget. I don't necessarily, recommend it for other people, because not everyone can live, on that budget. But I think at least having $2,000 a month to live in Kenya is sufficient if you want to be fancy and do all the fancy things and stuff. I try to just stick to my budget because I'd rather keep my money.
Mm-hmm. Would you advise someone to come seek? I know you said you know a number of African Americans in Kenya in the community. Would you advise somebody to come seeking a job in Kenya?
Honestly, I wouldn't recommend it, just because the wages are much lower than what we make in the States. And what I would actually recommend is that you find remote work, so you can be working from the States remotely and living in Kenya. And that makes it much cheaper for you because wages are higher in the States. So I don't quite recommend getting a job here, but I would recommend doing business here.
Mm-hmm. And how can you say your life has changed since you moved to Kenya? What's different now in your life?
Literally everything. I've never been one of those people who are like, oh, I got to move to Africa, or it's my goal one day to discover my roots in Africa. It literally never happened. Like, I literally came here and I had a great time. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stay, So there wasn't like a plan, but I think being here, it's changed my perspective on the continent generally. I've visited about 10 African countries since I've been here, and it's changed my perspective. The things that we learn in the media in the US is completely different than the actual experience here. And even like coming across wealthy people, like from our impression from the media, everybody here is poor and, doesn't have anything and can't eat. And, I'm sending my $1 a day to Africa to help you guys out, and that's what we've learned. That's the only thing we've learned from, our experiences in the States. So I've learned a lot and learned that, basically every country is the same. You have different, socioeconomic statuses. You have different people. You have nice people. You have mean people. No matter where you go, humans are just humans. So I've learned that, we all are sharing the same human experience. And there's really no difference between us except where we're geographically located. So I've certainly learned a lot and matured as to my thought process of Africa generally, but specifically Kenya.
Okay. And what would you say are the major differences between the US and Kenya?
Well, I guess development. I think, and the laws, there are a lot of laws in the U.S. that protect, the citizens, such as minimum wage law. I know you guys have a minimum wage, but it's fairly low. But minimum wage, housing, habitability. There are laws in the states that protect you from, living in certain conditions. There are many things, but mainly in areas of development.
Okay. So when you say about the housing and all that, does it mean that there are no slums and like people living in the streets in the US?
Well, people do live in the streets, but since the streets is not a house, there are no laws that require the housing or the tents on the streets be up to a certain standard. Because no one is actually leasing those. They kind of bring their own tent and just live on the street. But there are no laws against living on the street. So if you want to live on the street, you can. Or if there's a problem, there is a huge homeless problem in America. But if you are living in actual housing, there are laws to make sure that housing is habitable.
Awesome. And you mentioned about one of the things that you said is interesting is the dating scene. Briefly, how do you compare the dating scene here compared to the dating scene in the US?
Well, honestly, it's really, and I don't mean to, well, I will generalize, but, it's very difficult to date for Black women in the US. 42% of Black women are unmarried, never been married. And that's a problem for me. And it's because, the way they see beauty in the US is not us. The way they advertise beauty, promote and market beauty, it doesn't reflect me. So that becomes a problem when it comes to dating because people aren't as attracted to us for dating and things like that. And also, have other things as, a lot of women typically only date Black men. So, you have a percentage of the Black men who are incarcerated. You have a percentage of them who are underemployed or don't like women. So, have all these things against you as a Black woman in the States. But when you come here, like everybody's Black, if you're into Black men, everybody's Black. And, I feel like the men here really do embrace us and really love us. And so, it's a completely different experience than of that, which is in the States. So, it's really nice to just be in a place where you're loved.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that the men here are more, like, how would you put it? The men here are more welcoming, more warm, or you've not faced any challenges as a lady so far in the dating scene?
Not really. I think the dating scene here gives us more options. In the States, it's like, you don't have many options because, you're limited by these circumstances that exist. But here, I feel like, there are no boundaries. You can be free to date anyone. And I feel like, they're attracted, we're attractive to them. I guess because we're all Black, but, we're attractive and I feel beautiful when I'm here. So it's a really nice experience.
And do you feel now as an individual, do you feel like you are fully accepted, or do you get to a point, have you ever got to a point where people treated you differently because you are African American?
I feel like, yes. I mean, obviously people do treat you differently because, specifically when it comes to making purchases, I hear the word Mzungu a lot when I'm trying to make a purchase. And I get so upset because I'm like, I'm not a white person, So it's like, why would you treat me the same as you treat a white person? I'm not a white person, If you look at where I'm from and how my people are treated there, because again, we came from slavery from Africa. So it's like the way we're treated, we don't get like privileged treatment. We're not all walking around with a bag of money. There's no money tree in the backyard. I just always wish that I would get the same treatment as a local because it's like, I am your sister, and I'm not a Mzungu. So no, I'm not from here, but I am your sister. Originally, my people were from here. So, tragically, we were removed to another country, But yeah, I feel like I should get the same treatment as everyone else. And I don't always when it comes to purchasing, but otherwise, definitely am treated fairly.
Oh, yeah, I've had that. A lot of people, as long as you have a different accent they would say, okay, of course, some know is Black American, but your accent, they'll say, oh, okay, I don't know. Let me try and translate it. In Kiswahili, some people would say those black wazungus of the US.
Okay. Okay, I get it.
So,
But it doesn't mean we're rich. It just means we've come from another place.
like, there's that assumption even for someone who is a Kenyan and is abroad. There's that assumption just generally across Africa. If you are abroad or if you've lived or you've gone abroad, they expect you become rich.
Okay. But
Yeah,
I feel like
because
at
you
least
see,
if you're Kenyan, you can hide it, because you can speak Swahili. Like I can't hide it because I'm coming with my American accent, so I can't hide it. Now I start to like just go with my Kenyan friends and don't say anything, and then I can get the Kenyan price too.
yeah, maybe you should just learn some few words, some few phrases for purchasing and all that. But they also do, for those who are interested, I do offer classes, Kiswahili classes for those who want to learn Kiswahili. So at least you need to learn maybe some few phrases, asking for price, like saying, oh, I need a discount and things like that. Maybe that would help
I
you.
do know some words, but I still sound like an American when I say them, so it's still tough for me.
Maybe that accent, the Kiswahili accent, is going to come with time, of course.
Maybe.
Yeah. So have you got to a point where you felt like giving up?
Giving up on.
Like, I'm done, I'm going back to America.
No, because honestly, overall, it's much better. I have a much better experience. In America, I'm looked at as a Black person. Here I'm looked at just as a normal human, and so it's nice just to be able to, fit in, with everybody. And all of my experiences have been great, except that purchasing thing, but which is fine. But yeah, my experience has been so great. There's really no need to go back. I would actually never go back to the US. Even if I left Kenya, I wouldn't go back to the US.
What would you advise African Americans who want to visit or relocate to Kenya? What do you think are the most important things that they would need to know?
I would say absolutely do it. It's a great move. It's one that I made, quickly, and I never regretted it. But just make sure you bring enough money if you're not working, because a lot of people have the impression that it's very inexpensive just because it's Africa, and it's not. It's actually very expensive, or can be. So make sure you have enough money so you don't have to be, running back home. And also just do your research. Make sure you have enough. I think about, at least $2,000 per month that you'll be here is sufficient. If you're visiting, it's also expensive. Those tours in Masai Mara doesn't come cheap. But just do your homework and, make sure this is the right place for you if you're looking to relocate. And if you're looking to visit, definitely come. It's going to be such a great time. You're going to need to come back or spend a long time because there's so much to do here.
I thank you so much, Nikki. I appreciate your time and contribution. Do you have any regrets so far?
Not really, no regrets, but I don't live my life that way. I don't live with regrets. Whatever I do is what I do. I own it. And if I need to make another decision, I'll do that, but no regrets. My Instagram is Instagram at Nikki Faye, the Wanderer.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and contribution.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you really enjoyed. Kindly hit the like button, share it out so you can reach as many brothers and sisters out there. If you have any burning question, any question that you'd love to be addressed, leave it in the comment section as well, because I'll be meeting her very soon. And well, we're going to have another interview based on the questions that you'd love to be addressed. And like I said, if you want to know or if you want to learn how to build your credit, www.creditbuildingmasterclass is the place to go. Until next time. Kwaheri.
Nguo yangu wasenesi mwakire mtuzeha sana nenda finira chechemekwe. Nguo yangu wasenesi mwakire mtuzeha sana nenda finira cheche mekwe. Oh, yango asenesi makire mtuzeha. Sana nenda finira cheche mekwe. Bageri. Oh, yango asenesi